Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon. Ms. Bridgewater, the SAP reset date?
August the 29th.
Thank you. And I guess we'll get ready to start as soon as courtroom 2 comes online. Good afternoon, courtroom 2. We're ready when you all are.
Hey, Judge Morrow, how you doing, sir?
Doing well. I hope you are as well, Norris.
Wonderful, sir. We're going to start with position number 1, Ms. Suggs.
Good afternoon, Ms. Blanche-Suggs. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23CR004930F with simple battery family violence. Good afternoon, Ms. Roberts. Is there a history?
Good afternoon, Judge. I missed the name.
Is position number 1, Ms. Suggs?
I'm showing 2 cycles, with the last arrest being in 2016 for driving without a valid license. I'm not showing any convictions.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hudak.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This offense occurred on June 11th, 2023 at 1135 Oakland Lane, Southwest Atlanta. On that date, officers responded to the location for a report of a domestic. Officers spoke to the victim, who is Carlton Gordon, who told them that he was staying with his mother, who is Ms. Suggs. They were in a verbal argument, and the argument escalated when Ms. Suggs threw a thermos at his head, striking him in the face. There were no visible injuries to Mr. Gordon when officers arrived. The victim's girlfriend was present and told officer that Ms. Suggs did in fact throw the bottle at Mr. Gordon. Your Honor, at the conclusion of my presentation, I would ask that you sign for the victim. We are recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Carlton Gordon, and stay away from 1135 Oakland Lane, Southwest Atlanta.
If Mr. Carlton Gordon is present with us this afternoon, I would like to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. I'm sorry, who's? Oh, no, if this is Ms. Suggs, no, ma'am. You'll have a lawyer that's going to speak on your behalf, okay? You have a right to remain silent, and anything that you say can be used against you. Ms. Maxwell, good afternoon. Is this your case?
Yes, Judge, it is. Ms. Bullock-Scuggs is denying the allegations as they've been put forward. Her son does not live with her, was not staying with her, but in fact, she had called the police previously on him for theft and other things, but he did not have her permission to be in her home. And Ms. Scuggs is looking to get out of jail and back to work. She's worked for like 2 years doing security at Warner Brothers, and she's really would like to get out and start putting this behind her. But she is denying the charges. We would request a signature bond, given that she doesn't have any prior history. And it's her understanding that her son has left the state, so there should be no issue with contact.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Gordon, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Ms. Suggs.
Was that a pretrial, Your Honor, or jail?
Pretrial.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 4, Ms. Fornerette.
Good afternoon, Ms. Fornerette. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004932E with disorderly conduct and simple assault. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
5 cycles. Last arrest was August of 2022 for unlawful to possess, display, or use false fraudulent alter ID document in DUI in Gwinnett County. There's no disposition for that case, so it appears to be open. A 2020 conviction for DUI, and a 2021 conviction for furnishing to purchase of or possession by person below the legal age of alcohol beverage, and nothing further.
Yes, Ms. Hudak.
Thank you, Your Honor. This offense occurred on August 13th, 2023, so just yesterday. On that date, officers responded to a person down call at 22 East Andrews Drive, Northwest Atlanta. Upon arrival, they found the defendant suffering from abrasions to her head and arms. She told officers that the victim, in this case, who is Dion Gambrell, was bothering her and her friends from his vehicle. She yelled at him, told him to stop, but then he didn't. So she threw food at him and his vehicle, and then jumped inside the window of his vehicle, trying to open the door. She also attempted to strike him with her hands She also attempted to strike him by swiping her hands at him and trying to knock his phone out of her hands, or his hands. I apologize, Your Honor. We're recommending a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 per count. Stay away from Mr. Dion Gambrell, Gambrell, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would also ask that you sound for the victim, Your Honor.
Mr. Gambrell is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so. Yes, Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Your Honor. My client has explained the situation to me with a little more nuance than the state's initial description of facts. This was a longer interaction where I believe that the alleged victim had been bothering this group of people for several hours whilst out. So there was a little more of a buildup than just someone yelling at someone from a car. She is currently, she's just graduated from beauty school and has been working at Kroger for over a year. While she has been working steadily, she does not make very much money. I believe it's minimum wage. And she qualifies for our services. So as a cue there. So we would ask that the court consider a signature bond so that she can get out and get back to work.
It's going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each charge, which makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Gambrell. Stay away from the East Andrews address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Fornerette.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 5, Ms. Gillison.
Good afternoon, Ms. Gillison. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004933Y with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history?
4 Cycles out of Virginia. Last arrest was April of 2022 out of Virginia for DUI. That was a guilty plea. And then 1995 possession of marijuana, and that was also a conviction. Nothing further.
Ms. Hudak?
Thank you, Your Honor. This allegation stems from an incident that occurred in the early morning hours of today. Officers observed the defendant operating her vehicle on the sidewalk at the intersection of Mitchell Street and Central Avenue here in the city of Atlanta. They conducted a traffic stop. As the accused got out of the vehicle, she immediately lost her balance. She agreed to participate in standard field sobriety tests, but was unable to follow instructions and could not perform any of the tests. She was taken into custody. Your Honor, we are recommending a $2,500 surety bond and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Gilson lives in Richmond, Virginia, where she works as a relocation specialist, and she was in Atlanta on business when this happened, doing emergency relocation services, I believe. She's very well educated. She's very passionate about her job, and very embarrassed about this entire event, and seems to feel really quite badly about it, but she would like to get out and go home so that she can be at work. I don't think she presents any risk of not returning because she has work ties in the community. So the main problem is that she doesn't have anyone here that can post a bond, and she is out of state. So she's asking for a signature bond so that she would be able to just get out, go home, and work on this from there, hire an attorney, because she does not qualify for our services, but move on from there.
I'm going to accept the state's recommendation. It's going to be a $2,500 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Gillison.
2,500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position number 10, Your Honor, Ms. Gray.
Good afternoon, Ms. Gregg. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004936J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Record 1 Cycle from August of 2022 out of Pennsylvania for resisting arrest and escape. There's no disposition, so the case appears to be open.
Ms. Hudak?
Thank you, Your Honor. These allegations stem from an incident that occurred yesterday on August 13th. Officers responded to 1700 Stanton Road, Southwest Atlanta, where they spoke to the victim, Mr. Richard Smith, who told them that his live-in girlfriend, Evelyn Gregg, confronted him about locking the bedroom door while he was sleeping. He said he left the residence, but left his keys back inside, so he had to turn around and go back inside to get them. At that point, the defendant confronted him again, grabbed his hair, and started to kick him in the face and the legs. She also threw a hookah at him. Officers observed what they believed to be Mr. Smith's dreadlock on the floor, and they also spoke to Mr. Frank Taylor, who is a roommate of the duo, who told officers that Ms. Gregg frequently beats on the victim, and he observed her pulling his hair yesterday during the incident. Your Honor, we're asking that bond remain the same, which is currently a $5,000 surety bond. No further contact with Richard Smith. Stay away from the apartment at 1700 Stanton Road. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And at the appropriate time, sound for the victim, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Richard Smith is on the line with us. Now is your opportunity to address the court if you choose to do so. or so. Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Ms. Gregg about this case, and she informed me of a bit of the history she has with her long-term boyfriend, or I guess ex-boyfriend at this point. They have had a bit of a tumultuous relationship, and she's been to the hospital several times because of injuries that he has caused to her, including breaking some of her teeth. And I can't read my handwriting on the next one, but she has been to Grady several times for medical treatment based on injuries he's inflicted. She would really like to get back to work. She's works at Waffle House, or to help support her 3 children who live with her sister, though she sees them very regularly. They live in the city. We would be asking for a signature bond. She can't afford anything else. She's working on a waitress salary. And regarding the location, she is the person that is on the lease, I believe. I don't believe Mr. Smith is, but she has indicated that if needed, she would be able to stay with her sister or somewhere else, and would have no problem having no contact with the alleged victim.
Okay. Are any of the children Mr. Smith's children?
No, they are not.
Okay. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Mr. Richard Smith. Stay away from the Stanton Road address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck, Ms. Gregg.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too, ma'am.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 11, Ms. Madeline Haney.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Haney. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 004944E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
No, first arrest.
Okay. Ms. Falk, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident happened August 12th, 2023 at 215 Marblehead Lane in Roswell, Georgia. Miss Krista Haney stated she was woken up by the defendant, her daughter. She stated that Nelson Haney had thrown powder on her boyfriend, Cole Clemens. Mr. Clemens left and the defendant confronted her father about the incident. They were yelling and the defendant was hitting her father, Nelson Haney. The defendant also stated that if she saw Haney again, she would blow his face off and then mine. Miss Krista Haney stated that Nelson Haney at no point became physical with her. And this is all according to Miss Krista Haney. The officers then spoke with the defendant, who admitted striking Nelson Haney in the face and admitted that Mr. Haney never became physical with her, but she also denied making any threats. A juvenile at the scene, AH, was questioned. She stated that the defendant yelled at Haney, hit him, and chased him around the room. She did state that Mr. Haney may have pushed the defendant in self-defense, and she also corroborated the threat that had been made by the defendant that Miss Krista Haney reported to the police. When officers contacted Mr. Haney, he denied the incident and the threats. However, we have subsequently spoken to Mr. Haney. He stated that he is the defendant's father, and they, along with the mother, Miss Krista Haney, and siblings AH, 17 years of age, and EH, 5 years of age, reside at that address at 215 Marblehead Lane. He stated he doesn't have a domestic violence history with her and does not fear her, but did confirm the events in the warrant. We are agreeable, based on the lack of history, to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Nelson Haney, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and we would like to sound for Mr. Nelson Haney.
Judge, that's my case. My name's Ryan.
Yes.
Walsh. He's present, Mr. Haney. It's under Clay Haney, and Miss Haney's mom is present as well.
And Mr. Walsh, if I can just inquire, I understand his name is under Clay Haney. Is his given name Nelson or Clay?
My first name is Nelson. My middle name.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure for the record. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Mr. Walsh, would you like for me to hear from Mr. Haney, or would you like to present?
I would like to present. I do think they do want to speak just for the purposes of the record.
Okay,
Ms. Haney, she's 22 years old. She is a recent graduate of the University of Kentucky. She got a bachelor's degree. She's currently interviewing for her first full-time job after graduation and has been in the process of doing that. She has no history of any sort of criminal activity, and she has no history with her family. I think there may be some dispute about any words that were exchanged, but I think we have an understanding of the events that happened. I'm going to ask for a $1,000 cash or surety bond. They do live up in Roswell. It's about an hour drive to pretrial services from there. I spoke with Ms. Haney this morning about that. And if we can do a cash or surety bond, she would prefer that. And her parents are here to speak on their behalf and her behalf.
okay. Mr. Haney, if you would like to address the court, I'm happy to hear from you. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell me, Mr. Haney?
Just for that, I was not injured in any way. This was a one-time thing that happened. Madeline is a good kid, and I would like for you to release her back to us. I don't feel threatened by her in any way. I wasn't injured, and I just want her to come home.
Okay, so let me make sure I have the relationship. You're her father?
I'm her father, correct.
Okay, and Anna Haney, is that?
That's my other daughter.
Okay, okay,
So Madeline Haney, who's in front of you with the charge, is my oldest daughter.
okay. And this has not happened before?
No, not at all.
Okay. If anything further, Mr. Haney?
No, I think my wife wanted to address the statement as well.
Okay, I'm happy to, if you would like to address the court, ma'am, I'll need for you to unmute yourself and raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to reiterate what Clay said, that Madeline is a great kid, great person, and this was an unfortunate event for all of us, and I know we're all very sorry, and she's on a good track right now, and we just want her to be able to continue that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Walsh, anything further?
No, Judge, I think I'm going to stand with my prior statement and just ask if you would consider a cash or surety bond in this case.
Ms. Falk? Anything further?
State doesn't object to a surety bond, Your Honor.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,000 surety bond, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Nelson Clay Haney, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you all.
Ms. Falk,
Thank
what
you,
happened to
Judge.
2 counts of the cruelty to the children?
That was NOD'd because it was a simple battery, not a battery. And so
Okay.
the cruelty to children 3rd degree can't be sustained with a simple battery. I did send the NOD form over to the jail records as well as Tyron Wilburn.
All right, thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Judge. That concludes my business. May be excused.
Yes, you all have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
Sergeant Norris, did you receive the plea paperwork on the 2 whites? Mr. Gregory and then Mr. Tadarian?
Yeah, we should be emailing that back to you.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And let's see, when we're done with the females, Norris, I do see that we have an interpreter on the line, and I also see that we have another private attorney, Mr. Farnsworth, for I believe it's Mr. Morris. So just wanted I'm sure that you already know that, but when you have a chance.
I got you, Your Honor. I just wanted to
Okay.
take care of a visitor here, and then we're gonna go directly to Mr. Morris.
Okay, very good. I knew you knew, but
We got position 18, Miss Selena Reed. and she has her mother here in the galley.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Reed. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004938C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
No, first arrest.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on August 12th, 2023 at 4729 Buffalo Street in South Fulton. Officers met with the defendant in reference to a DV dispute, verbal with Accusations Reed. Mr. Accusations Reed, who is her brother, stated he saw the defendant's daughter pull the tail of his kitten and hold it up in the air. He told the child to stop multiple times, and the defendant approached him in an aggressive manner and began arguing with him. Mr. Reed stated he retreated to the kitchen. The defendant later came into the kitchen, got in his face, and continued to be irate toward him, and then punched him in his face, resulting in a visible cut on his nose and bleeding. This was observed by the officers. When the officers questioned the defendant, she stated that Mr. Accusations Reed threw a piece of bacon at her and walked toward her in an aggressive manner. And so, although the defendant did not have any kind of visible injuries that were noted by the officers. I did have a chance to speak to Accusations Reed. Our office did have an opportunity to speak with him. He stated that he is her brother, and they, along with the defendant's 2-year-old child and mother, reside at that Buffalo Street location. He stated that they have had their usual brother-sister arguments, but this time the defendant exploded and put his hands on him. The defendant stated and the defendant at that point did place her hands on him, and he did sustain injuries. We also spoke to Mr. Reed, and he confirmed the events of the warrant, but he would like to remain in the household. As this defendant has no prior history, we are agreeable to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. No further violent contact with Accusations Reed, 1-day anger awareness. And we would like to sound for Mr. Accusations Reed.
Just so you know, Ms. Falk, I think I heard most of everything that you said, but you're going in and out. I think your internet connection's a little unstable. So, but
Okay.
I think I got everything that you were saying.
Got it. And I'll connect up when this is done.
Okay,
To
you're fine.
hard line. Okay.
Let's see, Ms. Kim, I'm happy to hear from whomever is in the courtroom or Mr. Accusations Reed. Let me go to you first, Ms. Kim. Good afternoon. Do you have any objection to anything that Ms. Falk has requested?
No, Your Honor, we have no objection.
Okay, so I'm going to give Ms. Reed a signature bond, but if someone would like to address the court, I'm going to give them that opportunity also, but just to know that she will get a signature bond. So if Mr. Accusations Reed is here in the court, or if the person in the galley would like to speak to the court, I'm happy to hear from you.
Your Honor, she doesn't want to address the court.
Okay, thank you. So it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Accusations Reed, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Reed.
Next, Your Honor, we're going to go to position number 15, position number 16, Mr. Morris.
Okay.
Can we get a breakout session for courtroom 3 for the Spanish interpreter?
Okay, so, and who's representing the person who okay, so let's put Ms. Kim, Madam Interpreter, and courtroom 3 into a breakout room, please. Good afternoon, Ms. Cheney. Good to see you as always. Thank you for helping us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you too.
Your Honor, actually, I was able to interview my client in English. However, he wanted to have a Spanish interpreter just in case he could not understand some of things that we have to go through in the court procedure. So I think I don't have to have
You don't have, okay, so we don't need a break. So we'll come back to courtroom 3. Let's finish up with Mr. Morris. We'll begin with Mr. Morris in courtroom 2. Good afternoon, Mr. Morris. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004928F with battery family violence, and in case 23 CR 004929F with theft of service. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
I only showed 3 cycles out of Mississippi, with the last being in 2001 for DUI and driving while license suspended or revoked. I don't show any conviction.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This first, we'll start with the family violence battery first. That occurred on June 17th, 2023 at the Hyatt Centric at 3301 Lenox Square Road. Officers spoke to Miss Christy Morris, who stated that she and her husband were in a dispute. The defendant began throwing items on the floor, telling her to pick them up and threatening her. She stated that the defendant then took her luggage and intentionally struck her with it. Officers did observe swelling to her left ankle. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Morris. She stated that they have been together for approximately 20 years, married for 11, and they have no children. She stated that although she stated that she does not fear the defendant, she did in fact confirm the events of the warrant, that she was in fact struck with a suitcase by this defendant. We are asking for a $2,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Hyatt Centric located at 3301 Lenox Square Road, Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. No further contact with Miss Christy Morris. 1-day anger awareness. I will also put the address for Miss Morris in the chat to Miss Bridgewater. The second incident occurred August 12th of 2023 at 2257 Lenox Road Northeast, which is the Babylon Cafe. The officer met with the defendant, who had purchased food and drinks from the cafe with a value of $389.28. When asked if he was going to pay his tab, the defendant advised he had no intention of paying that bill. The defendant was then arrested by the officer. We are requesting a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from the Babylon Cafe at 3301 Lenox Square Road. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state. Oh, and we would like to sound for Miss Harris. Excuse me, Miss Christy Morris.
If Ms. Morris is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Good afternoon, Judge. I spoke with someone.
Okay, Ms. Morris, good afternoon. Let me swear you in first, okay? Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you like to that you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay, my husband he's a stand-up guy. Like, he will give you the shirt off his back. Like, we've been together almost 20 years. We've been married for 11 years. I explained to the officer or whomever I spoke with, like, my husband didn't intentionally strike me at all. So I'm not sure where that came from. And then the swelling of the ankles, I'm a diabetic. Like, my ankles retain fluid. Like, they're swollen now if you see them. Like, my husband would never intentionally do anything. Like, we were celebrating my birthday and we had a lot to drink. So we did have an argument, but he would never intentionally hurt me at all. Like, I am not in fear at all.
Okay, and this has not happened before?
No, like, we've been together, like I said, almost 20 years. We've never had an issue like this. We've never had an issue with police or anything, like no domestic violence, no anything.
And do you know how the police were called or got to the scene?
I didn't call them till my knowledge, the security guard called them, but I didn't call them.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Morris?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, Mr. Farnsworth.
Good afternoon, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are as well.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, addressing the family violence battery, as you heard from Ms. Morris, she does not believe that was an intentional act, obviously intent being a key component of the charges. She does not fear him. They've been together a very long time. They live together in Hoshton, Georgia, which is right next to Brazelton, about an hour away. He is a plant manager at 4840. He's been working there about 16 years. He's employed, he's married. She does not fear him. I think a no further contact provision is not called for in this situation. You've heard from her. She would like to have contact. She'd like to have him home. He needs to get home, back to his job where he's been a long time. They did not call the police. I believe it was a noise disturbance and the security guard reached out, at which point they were both leaving the premises. So based on those foregoing, we would ask that you allow no further violent contact between the parties, allow him to go home. I have no problem with the $2,000 surety bond on that case, and anything else involved with that. That's the family violence battery one. With regard to the theft of services, it is our understanding and our belief that we would be able to present a receipt showing that that bill was paid in full, and that the officer was involved and outside and inserted himself into a situation and was unaware, based upon our knowledge of the situation, that that bill was in fact paid. But obviously that's for something down another day, to bring in that evidence. Based upon that, Judge, and based upon the distance it would be required to bring him back for weekly pretrial meetings or pretrial meetings in general, we'd ask that you set a surety bond of $1,000 on that charge.
Okay, for the battery, it's going to be $1,000 surety bond, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Christy Morris, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. For the theft of service, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the, I believe, Babylon Cafe on Lenox Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both, Ms. Morris and Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Judge. That'll conclude my business. May I be excused?
Yes,
And Your
have a good
Honor,
afternoon.
Actually, just before Mr. Farnsworth leaves, just on position 15, you did ask for a stay away from the Hyatt Centric. I didn't know
Okay,
if you ever ordered it. I may have missed it.
no, yes, and it'll be a stay away from the Hyatt Centric at Lenox Square, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, yes, we'll put that in the order also.
Thank you.
Well,
Judge.
have a good afternoon. You're welcome. All right, do you want to go to courtroom 3 now? Is that
Yes,
okay?
Your Honor, we can go to courtroom 3.
Okay.
Ms. Folk, are you doing all the cases?
No, I'm not doing all the cases.
Okay.
Ms. Hudak is here as well.
Because I have a Mick Lester. She was on a pull sheet, but she wasn't placed on the calendar. And she has a simple battery charge. Misdemeanor.
And you type the booking number into the chat so I can see if I can locate her and get that worked up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And who do we have in courtroom 3?
In courtroom 3, Your Honor, that's going to be Mr. Mendoza,
Okay.
Jose Mendoza, yeah.
position number 14.
14. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Mendoza. Can you hear me and understand me okay?
Buenas tardes, señor Mendoza. ¿Me puede escuchar y entenderme bien? Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Mendoza, would you like to utilize the interpreter this afternoon or not?
Señor, ¿quiere? Yes.
Okay. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Señor, yo soy el juez Eric Morrow y este es la lista de causas estatales de trámite rápido a través de videocámara. ¿Está de acuerdo con que se trate su caso de esta manera? Yes.
You have been charged with theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass.
Señor, usted tiene dos cargos, uno de robo de tienda y el segundo por allanamiento de morada.
Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Roberts?
11 cycles.
I'm sorry. I cannot hear you, madam. I'm sorry.
11 cycles.
Tiene
Courtroom,
11
I'm sorry,
procesos.
courtroom 3, you're talking over us. Thank you. I apologize. Go ahead, Ms.
Hay
Roberts.
11 procesos anteriores.
Last arrest was October of 2022 for criminal trespass and simple battery. That was a conviction.
There was or there wasn't.
There was, yes.
La última vez fue en octubre del 2022 por allanamiento de morada también y hubo una sentencia en esa oportunidad.
DUI convictions in 2015, 2006, and 2002.
2015, también por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol en el 2015 y 2002.
Willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer convictions in 2012, 2006, and 2003.
Por obstrucción a la autoridad en el 2012, en el 2006 y en el 2003.
And then 2 disorderly conduct convictions, 2022 and 2021.
Y por conducta negligente fue en el 2021 y en el 2022.
And nothing further.
Nada más.
Ms. Falk?
Señora Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened August 13th, 2023 at Walmart located at 6149 Old National Highway.
Esto ocurrió en el Walmart localizado en la dirección 6149 de Old National Highway el día 13 de agosto del 2013. Perdón, 2023. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. The officer was working an extra job at that location and observed the defendant walking through the final point of sale exit doors.
El oficial estaba trabajando un turno extra y observó al acusado salir a través de las puertas del área de ventas.
The defendant had 4 Modelo beers, 2 bottles of hot sauce, and 1 whole cooked chicken in his jeans.
I'm sorry, how much chicken?
Oh, a whole cooked chicken.
El oficial observó que este acusado llevaba 4 cervezas de Modelo, 2 botellas de salsa picante y un pollo entero.
The officers also determined that the shirt and pants that the defendant were wearing were also stolen from the Walmart.
Y también observaron que los pantalones habían sido robados de la tienda también.
The total of the items stolen was $67.22.
Y el monto total de valor por los productos robados fue de $67.22.
The defendant has a number of convictions from Clayton County in December of 2022, including criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, simple battery of law enforcement, and criminal trespass.
El acusado tiene otras convicciones del condado de Clayton en el del 2002, que incluyen allanamientos de morada, también conducta negligente, obstrucción a la autoridad y otros.
For that reason, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond that is $500 per count.
Por eso la Fiscalía está solicitando una fianza bajo garantía de $1,000, es decir, $500 por cargo.
We are also requesting a stay away from the Walmart at 6149 Old National Highway and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Y también solicitamos que se mantenga distanciado del Walmart localizado en el 6149 de Old National Highway y que quede prohibido todo uso de droga, alcohol y armas.
Ms. Kim?
That's all for the
Oh,
states.
Eso es todo.
Ms.
Yes,
Kim?
Your Honor. Mr. Mendoza is 46 years old.
El señor Mendoza tiene 46 años.
He's been here in Georgia for more than 20 years.
Él ha estado aquí en Georgia por más de 20 años.
He works for maintenance for company for about 3 to 4 years.
Él ha trabajado para una compañía en el departamento de mantenimiento de 3 a 4 años.
He successfully graduated from high school.
Y él se ha graduado exitosamente de la escuela secundaria.
He's not going to be qualified for public defender services.
Él no cumple los requisitos para recibir los servicios de un abogado público.
But I'll be representing him for the purpose of bond hearing only.
Pero yo lo estoy representando para el propósito de que obtenga una fianza en esta audiencia.
We would like to request for a signature on bond.
Queremos solicitar una fianza bajo firma.
If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we ask for maximum $1,000 for both charges, $500 each.
Y si su señoría no prefiere no otorgar ese tipo de fianza, solicitamos que se le otorgue una fianza de no más de $1,000, es decir, $500 por cada uno de los cargos.
Going to be a $500 surety bond per charge, which makes for a total of $1,000 surety bond.
Otorgo una fianza bajo garantía de $500 por cargo, es decir, un total de la fianza bajo garantía de $1,000.
Stay away from the Walmart on Old National Highway.
Mantenerse alejado de la tienda Walmart en el Old National Highway.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, Mr. Mendoza.
Buena suerte, señor Mendoza.
Let's see, do we have anyone else that needs an interpreter this afternoon?
I can ask.
Oh, the council should know. Is anyone else there? Go ahead and ask, Ms. Chen.
¿Hay alguien más que necesite un intérprete en español? Por favor, prenda su cámara y avise al juez.
Doesn't appear so. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good day.
You the same. Thank you. Who do we have next?
This is going to be position number 6, Mr. Gooden.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gooden. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gooden, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004934Y with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history?
He has 6 cycles. Last arrest was June of 2022 out of Maryland for assault. There was no disposition, so the case appears to be open. He has an open theft by taking out of Fulton County, 21 CR 006324Y, and nothing further.
Ms. Huda?
Thank you, Your Honor. This offense actually occurred on May 26th of 2023. On that date, officers responded to 902 Monterey Parkway, Sandy Springs, for a report of domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, they spoke to the victim, Nicole Gooden, who is the wife of the defendant. She stated that during a verbal argument, the defendant pushed her into a closet door, causing a laceration to her head that was visible to the officers. Officers also noted that a minor child, I believe it's Nahia Gooden, the was present and witnessed the incident. Your Honor, at the appropriate time, we'd ask that you would sound for the victim. We would note that the defendant is a multi-state offender. We are recommending a $5,000 good bond on, in total, $4,000 on the battery, $1,000 on the cruelty to children. No further contact with the victims, both Nicole and her minor daughter. Stay away from the address at 902 Monterey Parkway. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms. Nicole Gooden is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so. Yes, Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Your Honor. After speaking with Mr. Gooden, he would like to request that the court consider either a signature bond or he can pay up to $600. It was, I think, the amount he said his family could probably stretch for that. He would have no issue staying away from his wife while this is pending. He has already moved out and moved in with his mother. He was employed prior to his arrest, but he's not sure if he still is going to have that job when he gets out, as if he has had to miss work because of incarceration. So we would just ask the court to consider either a signature bond or a bond less than $600.
For the battery, it's going to be a $2,000 good bond. For the cruelty, a $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Nicole Gooden. Stay away from the 902 Montero Parkway address. If need be, he can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. I'm always reticent to keep a father from his child, so there will be third-party transfer of the child for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Mr. Gooden.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 7, Mr. Kendrick. No, actually, I see Ms. Falk has an announcement regarding Ms. McLester.
That is correct. Courtroom 2. We have reached out to the DA's office. I'm hoping to get a response before the end of court. However, the simple battery in that case stems from the arrest on her 2 armed robbery charges for which she currently has bonds on. So, Your Honor, just to kind of give you some background, Ms. McLester was committed the offense or was charged with 2 counts of armed robbery. She was then arrested on the 11th, taken to the jail at East Point, where she then began to be combative with the officers, spit on one officer, pulled the hair of the other officer. One, that wouldn't be simple battery, to actually be felony obstruction because she offered violence to the officer by pulling her hair and fighting with the officers. 2, even if it wasn't obstruction of an officer, it's still connected to the arrest on the armed robbery case. So it is, they have already assigned it a DA number as to all those charges upstairs. So we don't even have access to the case.
So she's going to be on felony first appearance at some
She
point?
was already on felony first appearance. It looks like she just needs to go back and they need to address the simple battery.
Okay.
They'll probably
And-
be tomorrow, Your Honor, because
Yeah, and I can ask that it be placed on the calendar for the simple battery charge so they can just address that charge.
Okay, so she'll be on felony first appearance again tomorrow.
okay.
What was her name again?
McLester.
Like, come on, now. Man, I'm gonna tweet the fuck out of here. Yes, I am. So what else, better? Ooh.
All right. All right. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, no problem.
This is gonna be position number 7. Mr.
Okay.
Kendrick Gordon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gordon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Can you hear me, Mr. Gordon?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, is it all right if we do this by video?
Yeah, you know, man.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gordon. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004935B with criminal trespass and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, I show 50 cycles. Last arrest January of this year for criminal trespass. Had the willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer conviction in 2022, 2018, 2013, 2012, 2009. Has possession of marijuana less than an ounce convictions 2014, 2013, and 2012. And then he had criminal trespass convictions, 3 in 2012, 1 in 2011, and 1 in 2009. And nothing further.
Yes, Ms. Hudak.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident incident springs from August 12th, 2023. On that date, officers responded to the Atlanta Package Liquor Store located at 2655 Donald Lee Hallowell Parkway. Upon arrival, the officer spoke to the reporting party who told him that the defendant was inside her store harassing customers and was standing outside the store refusing to leave. She provided the officer with a prior criminal trespass case number for the accused dating from January 24th, 2023. Under the incident number 23-024-1128. As the officer attempted to place the defendant into custody, the accused refused to place his hands behind his back, ignored verbal commands, clenched his fists, and swung a punch at the officer's face, but did not make contact. Your Honor, as you heard pretrial services, he has a number of criminal trespass charges, at least 3 failures to appear. For those reasons, we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 surety on each count. Stay away from the Atlanta Liquor Store located on Donald Lee Hallowell Parkway. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Yes, Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Gordon is not currently employed. He doesn't have a way to pay any bond, certainly not one that is $2,000 surety. He can't. He lives with his grandmother who's on a fixed income. We would ask that, I understand because of the prior failure to appear as the court's options are a little more limited here. So we would ask that the court consider a small bond, something that's a little closer to $500, something that maybe he and his family might be able to stretch and reach. And just as a note, I believe Mr. Gordon was tased during this arrest. He was cleared at Grady, I think, but he's still, I think there's potential medical issues he might want to check out now. Thank you.
It's going to be a $250 good bond per charge, which makes it a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Atlanta Liquor Store on Donald Lee Hallowell Parkway. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gordon.
Thank you, Judge.
Welcome.
Position number 2 in courtroom number 3, please.
Okay.
Your Honor, what was that bond amount?
Total of a $500 good bond, $250 per charge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. I have a number of breakouts that have been requested, number 2, number 22, and number 23. So position number 2 has requested a breakout room. Do you all want me to wait until the end of the calendar to do those breakouts?
That's fine, Judge. Thank
Yes,
you.
Your Honor.
Okay.
State is ready on those two cases that had pleas. So we have sent the paperwork over to Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay.
Father, can we take care of Mr. Hendricks? He's gonna have to go back to the medical, as you can see, having issues coming to the chair.
Okay. Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Hendricks. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're doing by video. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Hendricks, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004937C with unlawful conduct during a 911 call, 2 counts of that. Is there a history?
7 cycles, last arrest 2011 for FTA, 2009 conviction for harassment out of Texas, 2004 conviction for criminal trespass out of Texas, and then a simple battery conviction in 2011. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Hudak?
Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday on 8/13/2023. Officers responded to a call of a person that was shot at the Peachtree Summit building. Prior to the arrival, the officer read call remarks that stated a male was shot in the arm and chest and was refusing medical treatment. The officer thought that it was a little odd, so he asked dispatch to review all the times the phone number 404, and I can put the number in the chat, but ending in 7015 called 911. Dispatch said that there were 21 calls from that number this month alone, and told the officer that the number belonged to Mr. Hendricks. Upon arrival, the officers had gathered a number of his colleagues. They called the number, which called 911. It rang. They watched it ring and listened to it ring in Mr. Hendricks's bag. He ignored the ringing. The officers then observed Mr. Hendricks open his fanny pack where the phone was located. Upon seeing him do that, they took him into custody. Your Honor, we are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, $1,500 on each count, an MH evaluation and treatment, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hendricks is 68 years old and is currently homeless. He's a veteran who suffers from a variety of physical and mental health conditions. He's had lung cancer, got heart problems, and I believe he said he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, though it was a little difficult to understand. He has been homeless for years at this point. We would, and paying any bond or paying anything to a bail bondsman is well outside of his means. We would ask that the court grant him a signature bond where I think the mental health eval is a good idea. And those conditions sound good.
Ms. Maxwell, you do understand that if you request the MH evaluation that he is going to remain in custody?
No, I'm afraid I'm new to this particular office. We had in my last county, we had external ones, so I apologize on that.
Okay, no, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't your request of the court, okay?
Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, I will request a social worker visit for him. So it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each charge, which makes for $1,000 signature bond through the jail, social worker visit to help him with housing, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Courtroom 2, can you unmute for me for a moment, please? Mr. Hendricks, I'm gonna let you sign your own bond and get out, but you can only call 911 if you have an emergency for yourself, okay? Don't call 911 if you don't, okay? Okay, okay, I just don't want you to be back here, okay? Okay, all right, I'm gonna let you out.
Police phone number, please put that 911.
Okay, all right, Mr. Hendricks, good luck to you, sir.
Hey, no, what do you keep getting up for? Whoa. You gonna sit right here, okay? I don't want you trying to go back there. And then you sit right there. Right there. Yeah, perfect. Next, Your Honor, we got position number 19, Mr. Gregory White.
Okay. And this is gonna be a plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Good
And I
afternoon.
am in receipt of the papers, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. White. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Mr. White. Now, Mr. White, you understand that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We provided you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon. It's my understanding that you wish to proceed without the assistance of a lawyer, and that you're going to be you want to enter into a plea to criminal trespass. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that a time served plea, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 12 months, balance serve 1 day in jail, balance suspended, stay away from, just a moment, stay away from CARE USA located at 151 Ellis Street Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia.
Is that your understanding, Mr. White?
Yes, sir.
And you'd like to plead guilty to this criminal trespass charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again, it's my understanding, Mr. White, that in case 23 CR 004942Y, you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
No, sir.
You've been represented by counsel. Are you no, you've had the opportunity to be represented by counsel. It's my understanding that you wish to proceed without the assistance of counsel. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on this charge, and that by pleading guilty to it, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
Did you have the opportunity to go through the plea sheet line by line?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign the bottom of that form?
Yes, sir.
Did anyone force you or coerce you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
All right, I will accept the plea as negotiated, Mr. White. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next, T. White. Next is position number 20, Mr. Damian White.
Good afternoon, Mr. White. Again, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you can put your hand down. Mr. White, now you understand that you have a right to remain silent, and anything that you say can be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We've offered you the assistance of a public defender, but it's my understanding that you wish to proceed without the assistance of counsel. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's also my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass?
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay, Ms. Falk, what were the plea negotiations?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation on that one was, again, 12 months with 1 day to serve, credit for time served, release for time served. We also asked that the balance be suspended upon a stay away from Madeira Apartments located at 780 Memorial Drive Southeast. The defendant was inside a vacant apartment, which he entered through the window without permission, was observed sleeping, and had been previously trespassed from that location.
That's your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. White?
Oh, yes, I understand.
Okay, so it's my understanding that in case 23 CR 004943D that you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
No, sir.
You've had the opportunity to be represented by counsel. It's my understanding that you wish to proceed pro se without counsel. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I would.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on this charge, and that by pleading guilty to it, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir, I understand.
And you had the opportunity to go through the plea sheet line by line?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you sign the bottom of the form?
Yes, sir, I signed.
Did anyone force you or coerce you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll accept the plea as negotiated, Mr. White. Good luck to you, sir.
Oh, wait, excuse me, I have one quick question.
Okay,
They said I have a goal in Chambly, but when I asked about it, it was the wrong date of birth on the person and different name spelling. I just wanted to know what was going on.
okay, well, you can speak with someone in the jail regarding that. I don't know, Mr. White, so I can have you speak with someone in the jail, or let's see, Ms. Kim or Ms. Maxwell, can you assist the court? Ms. Kim, can you assist the court and
Yes.
and
I'll be
find
happy
out what's
to.
going on with that charge? Okay, so I'm gonna
Yes.
have Ms. Kim check into that for you, okay, Mr. White?
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
All right. Next, Your Honor, we have position number 13, Mr. Katz, Jonathan Katz.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Katz. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that were conducted by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Katz, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004940G with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, he has 28 cycles. Last arrest was January of 23 of this year for public indecency. He has a trespassing conviction out of Florida from 2020, a petty theft conviction out of Florida from 2019, a theft by shoplifting conviction in 2017, possession of marijuana less than an ounce conviction in 2016, and then 2 criminal trespass convictions, 2014 and 2017. And nothing further.
I'm not sure whose it is, Ms. Huda.
It's mine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
This incident occurred on 8/12/2023. On that date, officers were called to the BP gas station located at 464 Windsor Road. Officers were there for an unrelated incident when the security officer reported that a man, ultimately identified as Jonathan Katz, what had been criminally trespassing, and this occurred initially the day before. And so the security officer told the actual officer that the defendant the prior day was on the property naked and performing lewd acts. The security officer told him the day before he was not to return to the property, but on 8/12 he was there again. As Mr. Katz walked by, the police officer asked to speak to him. Mr. Katz fled on foot and the officer gave chase. The defendant continued to ignore verbal commands to stop, and the officer did deploy his taser. The defendant was then taken into custody. Your Honor, due to that concerning public indecency charge from the beginning of the year, we're concerned about his likelihood to reoffend. We're also concerned about a flight risk because if you look at his history of arrests and convictions, he is back and forth between Florida and Georgia all the way up until 2022. We would recommend a $2,000 bond, $1,000 at each count, and a stay away order from the BP gas station located at 464 Windsor Road.
Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Katz is currently homeless. He is experiencing a lot of while he doesn't have any mental health diagnoses, I would like to ask the court to have a social worker speak with him. And I'm turning in a request on our end as well. He has been living on the streets for a while now, at least 2 months in the Atlanta area. He's not going to be able to make any bond. We would ask the court, release him on a signature bond, so that we can try to get him set up with some services.
Okay. It's gonna be a $500 good bond per charge, which is $1,000 good bond total. Stay away from the BP gas station on Windsor Road. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and a social worker visit. Ms. Maxwell, if Mr. Katz is still in custody on August 29th, I will be on the state all-purpose calendar that day. And if you will have the social worker report to me, I will, if there is a request to modify the bond at that time, if we have set them up with some social worker services, I'll reconsider at that time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Good luck to you, Mr. Katz.
Your Honor, what happened to the abandonment of controlled substance charge that he had? Was that NOD?
It was, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Next, we're gonna go to position 21, Mr. Terry Wicks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wicks. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Wicks, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004945F with fair evasion, criminal trespass, and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Sure, this has the first arrest.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This is the Wicks case, correct?
Yes.
This happened August 13th, 2023 at Peachtree Street and Ellis Street in Atlanta. The officer met with the defendant who refused to pay the required fare when boarding the MARTA streetcar. The defendant remained on the MARTA streetcar after the officer told him to step off of the MARTA streetcar. And while attempting to place the defendant under arrest, the defendant began pulling away from the officer and resisting arrest. We're actually showing that the defendant is a multi-state offender with a conviction out of Missouri in 2013, Illinois for battery in 2005, and December of 2022 out of Florida for synthetic cannabinoid, as well as a 2013 fugitive from justice warrant out of California. So we're actually showing no charges here in Georgia, but charges outside of the state. We are asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. That's going to be $1,000 per count. Stay away from MARTA, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
No, Your Honor. I have no objection.
Okay.
You.
So if $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, stay away, will abide by any MARTA restrictions, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wicks.
You know. Next, Your Honor, we have position number 22. Mr. Devin Williams. Devin Williams.
That's going to be one that we need a breakout room on.
Yes, Your Honor.
So do you have, is there any, we're going to need a breakout for 2, 22, and 23. Anyone else that we can take before we go into the breakout room?
That's all we have, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you real quick announcement.
Okay.
Position number 3, it's a medical reset.
Okay, so we'll reset that for tomorrow, 8:15.
Your Honor, my apologies. I'm so sorry to interject on you and the courtroom. Position 3 has been reset for several days. And so what we would request is that someone from the PD's office, preferably Mr. Derek Howard, go out there and meet with this defendant to determine further services. We actually have MMHC in place to take her, but they can't because nobody can go out. No one has actually met with her to find out what's going on.
Okay.
Sure. I'll ask PD Howard.
I would appreciate
Sure.
it. Thank you so much, Pete.
Thank you.
Okay, and maybe have him report to the court tomorrow, please, Ms.
Yes,
Kim.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what are the other, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Position number 8, bonded out.
Okay,
Position number 9 was a bond out.
okay,
Position number 17 is quarantine. So that's gonna be a medical reset. I couldn't even get to him. I tried and I couldn't get to him.
okay, we'll reset him for tomorrow, 8:15. Let's see, and then
And I
22,
believe he has a-
23, and
he
2,
has a
okay.
visitor on the Zoom. I believe Ms. Porter is for position 17.
Okay, so 17. Yes, Ms. Porter, so Malik Porter is going to be reset until tomorrow, ma'am. Ms. Porter, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
I'm
did you hear what the sergeant said about the reset until tomorrow?
Oh, that's for, I'm sorry, Your Honor, that's from Mr. Williams.
Um,
I'm here for Mr. Williams,
Yeah.
correct?
She just has that name. She has the same name as position 17.
okay, so. All right, so for Devin Williams.
Yeah.
Yes,
He-
sir.
uh,
That's the breakout case.
The breakout.
Okay, all right, thank you. And let's see, who is Miss Rogers here for?
That if it's Tamaya Rogers, that would be Malik Porter's case.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just found out how to unmute. Yes, I'm here for Malik Porter's case.
Okay, so in Mr. Porter's case, Mr. Porter has been reset for tomorrow, Miss Rogers, okay?
What time?
Same time.
2
2
o'clock?
o'clock.
Okay.
Yes, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Is it the same, oh, I'm sorry. Is it the same link to join for tomorrow? Or will you be issuing out a new link? Okay.
Okay.
Same link.
All right, anything further? If not, have a good, we'll see you tomorrow if you choose to join us, Miss Rogers. All right, any other announcements or can we go into the breakout room?
We can go to the breakout room, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So who do we need into the breakout room? Ms. Kim, Ms. Falk, Ms. Huda, Ms. Maxwell, myself, Ms. Bridgewater.
Looks like everybody left, Your Honor.
Okay, we are back, and let's see, who do we have in courtroom 2?
Devin Williams.
Yeah, number 22, Mr. Williams.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004948F with battery and theft by taking. Ms. Roberts, is there a history?
I'm sorry, Judge, I stepped away. What was the name?
It's position 22, Devin Williams.
2 cycles. Last arrest was January of 2017 for battery, family violence, and cruelty. Looks like that case was dismissed. I heard no convictions for this defendant.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on April 25th, 2023. Officers responded to a DV call at 6125 Roswell Road, apartment 514. They spoke with neighbor Miss Krenpa, who stated she heard arguing and thumping sounds coming out of the apartment. She called 911. She also stated she saw the defendant take Miss Porter's phone, Miss Brittany Porter, who's here on the Zoom, take her phone, and when Miss Porter tried to get it back, the defendant left the location. Officers then spoke with Miss Porter. Miss Porter stated to the officers she'd broken up with the defendant. He came over to her apartment. They began verbally arguing, and the defendant grabbed her and pushed her to the ground, causing a busted lip. The officers were able to observe swelling and bleeding to Miss Porter's lip at the time. And then they called the defendant to ask him to return, but he refused. The defendant then admitted when talking to the officers that they did argue and he pushed her off of him and she fell to the floor. He then changed his story and stated he had nothing to do with her injuries. When they asked where the phone was, he admitted to taking the phone, but claimed he had placed it in the apartment lobby, but could not tell them where. And when they accessed Miss Porter's Find My iPhone, they saw that the phone was 16 minutes away in Marietta. We have had an opportunity to speak with Miss Porter. She said she and the defendant have been together for 4 years, have a baby on the way, and she stated she does not want to go forward. However, the state's concern here is that this is not the first family violence battery. There was that 2017 family violence battery out of Cobb County where he completed pretrial diversion. Although it did not involve Miss Porter, that does give us some rise for concern about regarding future incidents and a risk of reoffense here. For that reason, we are requesting a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Miss Brittany Porter, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, stay away from 6125 Roswell Road, Sandy Springs, and we are agreeable to third-party contact with the child if once it is born. That would be breakdown would be $2,500 on count 1, the battery, and $500 on count 2, the theft by taking. That's all for the state. And we would like the sound from Ms. Porter.
Ms. Porter, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you'll raise your right hand for me, ma'am, if you would like to address, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Ms. Porter. What would you like to tell the court?
I would like to say that that she said in the description did happen. We got into an altercation. My neighbor heard what happened and then proceeded to call the police. After that, I did receive my phone from downstairs at the lobby at the time where he said it was left. Since then, this has been a isolated incident, I would say. We have never gotten to anything, altercation, any type of physical. I'm not afraid of Mr. Williams. We do live together since the incident. And now we did just find out that I'm 8 weeks pregnant and nothing of this sort has happened since then. I also have 2 people here on the Zoom call that can attest to the nature of our relationship, that it's nothing physical, it's nothing violent. And I would just like him to come home to the residence that we both live in.
So what you're telling me is that you're not afraid of him?
Not at all, sir.
And this has not happened before?
No. And since the incident in April, I believe that we began living together in June. And since then, our relationship is at a greater place than it's ever been. Like I said, we just found out I'm 8 weeks pregnant. Nothing of the sort has ever happened or will happen in the future.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations on your pregnancy.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 33 23 years old, and Your Honor, he has a master's degree. Indeed, he is planning to go to law school this coming January, Your Honor, at Georgia State. He has two jobs, one as a claim adjuster at State Farm for more than 5 years. And also he works as a realtor part-time, making extra commissions. He's not going to be qualified for public defender services, and I am representing him only for the purpose of the bond hearing. After this, he will have a private attorney. And Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond. He had no conviction whatsoever in terms of violence. And this happened more than 4 months ago. And Your Honor, my client, there was no actual theft occurred. My Miss Brittany Porter was able to get the phone in that incident time. Was less than like 5 minutes. She had just had to walk downstairs. There was no harm and no injuries. So we would like to request for signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of one dismissed case, we would like to request for maximum $500 good bond. Thanks.
And Your Honor, I just want to clarify, there were injuries and the phone was taken, even if it was later on returned to her. A theft by taking is completed once it's taken off her person and taken away from her. Just because she got it back 5 or 10 minutes later, it doesn't mean the theft by taking didn't happen.
Okay. Let's see, for the battery, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. For the theft, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Brittany Porter, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams, and you also, Ms. Porter.
Thank you.
Porter do not look like that.
All right, who do we have next?
Position number 2, in courtroom number 3.
Okay, let's see, this is Ms. Davis. Good afternoon, Ms. Davis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004910Y with battery. We have had the opportunity to speak on your case with your counsel and with the solicitor in a breakout room. We've determined that it's going to be $1,000 surety bond. You're going to be evaluated by the misdemeanor mental health court. You're to have no further contact with Ms. Sonia Lee and have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Davis.
So, hold on. Can I ask a question?
You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm sure that if you have a question, Ms. Maxwell will be happy to speak with you after court regarding any questions that you might have to help explain things to you, okay? I don't want. All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right, next we got 23, Mr. Wright.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Wright. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the, good afternoon, Mr. Wright. This is the expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004946A with criminal trespass. We have also had the opportunity to speak on your case in a breakout room with your lawyer and with the state. The bond's going to be $1,000 good bond. You're to have no further violent contact with Carlethia Wright. You're to stay away from the Charlotte Place address. And you are also going to have an evaluation for misdemeanor mental health court. And Ms. Wright, I see that you're on the line. If you would like to address the court regarding this, now is your opportunity to do so. Otherwise, I can have the the solicitor, the victim advocate get in touch with you at a later time. Which would you like to address the court?
Good morning. Good afternoon, Judge Johnny. No, she did speak to me. She told me it would be Thursday, so he did. This is court now.
He's going to be back in court, hopefully again on Thursday for evaluation for the misdemeanor mental health court.
Okay, so he have a signature bond.
No, he has a surety bond, $1,000 surety bond. And if he does not get out of custody, that will be it could be reevaluated on Thursday at the misdemeanor mental health court. Okay.
At what time on Thursday?
We'll have someone get in touch with you regarding that court. So Ms. Falk, if you could have someone from your office speak with Ms. Wright, please.
Yes, Your Honor. And Ms. Wright, we'll have somebody get in contact with you, but I have already sent out the email to misdemeanor mental health court to evaluate your son.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
And let's see, with that, courtroom 2, I believe that completes everybody. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow. Let's see, Ms. Bridgewater.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is August the 29th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 2 is reset. Are we going to reset this one to Thursday as well for the mental health court? Or are we just going to do it 2 weeks out?
If position 2 is Davis, yes, we would like a reset to Thursday on that one as well, so that MMHC can meet with both Mr. Davis and Miss Davis and Mr. Wright.
Okay, so I believe that date is going to be August the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, for this Thursday.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's going to be this Thursday for the mental health court evaluation or whatever, with the $1,000 good bond. Okay. Position 3 is reset till tomorrow. Position 4 is reset further notice with the total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 5 is reset to the SAP calendar on August 29th with the $2,500 good bond. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. Position 7, SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. Position 8 is reset further notice as the defendant has been released. The same for position 9, reset further notice. Position 10, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 11 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 12, reset further notice with a total $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 13, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 14, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 15, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 16, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 17 is being medically reset till tomorrow. Position 18 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Positions 19 and 20 took pleas. Position 21 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. And position 22 is reset further notice with the $3,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. And position number 23 is going to the calendar on Thursday, the mental health calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections?
I do have a question in regards to position 16. I may have been mistaken, but I thought the defense attorney asked for surety bonds on both of those. I may have misheard.
Gave him a surety bond on position 15 and a signature bond on position, on position 15 and a signature bond on position 16.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Let's see, anything else? Miss Maxwell, have you been before me before?
I don't think I have.
Okay,
I've
well.
been in this county for about 3 weeks now.
Okay, well, welcome. People just pop up sometimes and I always like to welcome, new people. So we're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. You all have a good rest of your day.
You as well.
See y'all tomorrow.